The Ascent is the inspiring true story of Colorado Springs bilateral amputee climber Mandy Horvath's record-breaking attempt to crawl to the summit of Mount Kilimanjaro and the mysterious circumstances under which she lost her legs at the age of 21. The Ascent is directed by Edward Drake, Scott Viltry, and Francis Cronin. And Scott and Francis is their directorial debut, but Edward Drake has directed films such as Cosmic Sing and Guns Up, and The Ascent just debuted at the 2026 South by Southwest Film Festival. The Ascent is a very moving, very inspiring, very compelling documentary. I highly recommend checking out this film, The Ascent. There's two plot lines going throughout this film. There's one plot line of how Mandy Horvath came to lose her legs. We see her when she's growing up and how she was. She was like a very bubbly, very smart, bubbly teenager. And then when she hit like 15, she became very troublesome, got into drinking and drugs and partying and stuff like that. And at age 21, she was at a bar drinking with a couple of friends, and then allegedly her drink was spiked, and somehow she ended up being placed allegedly on train tracks, and a train came and ran over her legs, and she ended up in hospital and she lost her legs. And when you see the aftermath of this, she really didn't, the aftermath of this accident, she really didn't do very well. She got heavily into, she became a heavy alcoholic. And even when after this incident, when she started getting into climbing, she was still climbing and drinking at the same time. So she really took for her a few years to basically her getting arrested for a couple of DUIs, and the judge telling her, basically scolding her in court, that this basically was a big wake-up call for her to become sober. And also with the help of a private investigator, we see that the investigation into who put her on the train tracks was basically just a squashed investigation. The investigation was pretty much non-existent. When she was at the hospital, they didn't test her, they didn't do the correct procedures, they didn't really question her friends, and there's a whole big cover-up. Basically, maybe the people who involved in this accident were involved with the police. And another plot line going through this film is also Mandy's attempt to climb Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania. We join Mandy and her entourage in Tanzania. She has to, from the ground up into the summits, she has to claw along the ground with her hands. And we see the very difficult terrain, even as one joking throughout the film. Like even with two legs, this is very difficult. And Mandy's personality really comes through in this film. It's very inspiring to see the aftermath of her accident. She really doesn't really trust anybody, and that's understandable. But despite that, she still has a positive outlook in life, and she's quite inspiring to see. And she's really stubborn and determined to do whatever she wants. And she's really a outspoken and positive speaker for people with disabilities. The film does end on a very inspiring note of Mandy getting to the top of Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania. The cinematography in Tanzania is fantastic. We get to see driving through the villages and then climbing the mountain, and then the views are very inspiring to see. So this film works on both ways, like this kind of like a bit of a crime story about how Mandy got to be who she was, and also her inspiring story of climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. These two thread points could be their own film, and they're very combined, very expertly edited and put together in a very compelling way. I give The Ascent 4 stars out of 5. I definitely recommend checking out this film. It expertly combines two plot threads: the investigation into Mandy's accident, and also her very inspiring story of trying to climb or try to crawl up Mount Kilimanjaro, and her record-breaking attempts. And just, she's a very inspiring character. Her personality really comes through on the screen. So I definitely recommend checking out The Ascent. It's a very moving, inspiring, compelling documentary. Thanks for watching. What did you think of The Ascent? Please comment below what you thought of the film. See you next time. Bye.